Hello, independent voter, old and computer illiterate. I call this one America Overview. I think it's the fourth one I've done. If you would have told me, because I'm old, over 50 years ago, that America would be like this, I would have bet against it. Let me explain. In elementary school, from first grade to sixth grade, we took our seats, the teacher took attendance, and then the teacher would say, stand up, face the flag, and put your right hand over your heart. And we recited the Pledge of Allegiance. I want that back in the schools. And if the kid's an atheist, when he gets to one nation, under that kid shuts the fuck up, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I was brought up to love this country. And any parent listening to this, you've raised a child to hate their own country. And to me, you're a failure. And I'll say it. I ain't married with children. But man, America has the worst parents. You let the kids tell you what to do. Nah, that's not supposed to go that way. And politically, I am so glad that I am an independent. I don't know why. Many decades ago, when I went to register to vote, there was 3 boxes. First one said Democrat. I support the platform of the Democratic Party. Second box, Republican. I support the platform of the Republican Party. And the third said independent. I do not wish to reveal my political affiliation. I checked that box, and I'm so glad I did. Unfortunately, in America, political parties are just about the dough. And television learned a long time ago that they could have a say in the elections. I've watched it twice. The Nixon-Kennedy debates. And they tried all different formats, and they finally settled on the podium. It made me laugh because one of the debates, it's funny to me. One of their debates, Nixon was in California and Kennedy was in New York. They weren't in the same room and they had a debate. And it's funny to me, the West Coast liberal state, the East Coast liberal state. And they knew that they could have a say in it. And they slowly but surely manipulated my fellow Americans to get more concerned with image and not substance. I laughed. I watched them twice. And I was just like, wow. They knew that they could develop it because you had Kennedy, tan, articulate, and Nixon looked like a piece of death. So they knew, and they slowly developed it over the decades. And now, I'm celebrating my 30th year. In 1995, I don't watch ABC News, NBC News, CBS News, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, and CNBC. In 95, I said, I'm sick of these teleprompter Muppet enemy propagandists. And I've said this stuff in the other videos I've done on this YouTube channel that very few get to see because I ask young people, I'm doing a YouTube channel and they say, hey, if they don't like you, they'll just bury you with this algorithm shit. And then I said, but, if you give them money, they may promote you more. And they said, nah, man, they'll just, and I never heard this before, shadow ban you. As far as the social network, the internet in general. First and foremost, I want freedom of speech everywhere. Everybody gets an opinion. It's a two-way street. And former President Bill DeGenerate started messing with that, with this political correctness bullshit. When somebody told me you're not being politically correct, I said, what the fuck is political correct mean? I can't have an opinion because it might offend you? Get the fuck out of here. You get an opinion, I get an opinion. You want to sit down and have a civil debate about a subject or an issue, fine. But that was taken away from us from that empty suit, half a homie, Barack Pussy O'Jerkoff. That guy is the most divisive human being in the history of humanity. And for 4 years that just passed, that fraudulently installed puppet degenerate with dementia, President and Vice President Ho, really took us down. Facts don't care about your feelings and numbers don't lie. Look at President Trump's first term from 2016 till that filthy communist China flu. Look at food and gas prices. And if you're going to tell me the last 4 years were better, please turn this off because you are part of my fellow American brainwashed morons. Brainwashed. Obey whatever the TV tells you. So I know that everyone's attention span is very short, and that's depressing. So I'm just going to end with this. We have an opportunity now to get back on track. And I've never seen such hatred for a man in my life. When he was just Donald Trump, everybody loved him. And then he became President Trump, and all the people that loved him hated him because he didn't go through the process. Let me explain. Donald Trump didn't have to be Mayor Trump, Governor Trump, Congressman Trump, Senator Trump, and then President Trump. He went right to the top position. And what I learned from his first term is that jealousy is an ugly thing. And I can't believe the hatred for this man. I didn't know shit about him other than successful business guy, was in a movie Home Alone and had a hit show called The Apprentice. I got cable, I got rid of it. TV is another diversion. And I am just, it's beyond appalling to know that my fellow Americans are so hateful. So thank you for listening if you've listened to this in its entirety. Have a blessed day.